what the Super Bowl tells you about what the Commanders need to do to get to that level. Fantastic season. They surprised us, made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, played the Eagles, had a bunch of turnovers in the game, wasn't really competitive. But the Eagles smashed the Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. I put this out on Twitter yesterday. In 3 games, the Commanders actually scored 77 points against the Eagles. Now, majority of that was in the second game,
right,
where they scored 36 points against that defense. But what does that game tell you about the Commanders? What do they need to do?
Well, for one, I think it's a little bit encouraging in that they were able to turn around their defense in 1 year. We kind of did that with our offense, and we still need help there. But I would still focus on the defense. We got to find a way to stop the run. We got to pressure the quarterback even more. We need help on the back end. I mean, we need help literally at every level of the defense. And we got to bolster the offensive line because the Eagles are going to be coming. Mm-hmm. And our stud, we got to protect him. Yep. We got to give him time. So it's a lot to ask, and I don't know how they're going to be able to plug all those holes. But I know everyone wants to say big receiver, and all that. That's way down on the priority list for me. It's bolster that defense, stop the run, bolster that offensive line, and then you can add some of the sexy parts later.
And this is what you know. You know Adam Peters knows that. You know Dan Quinn knows that.
I think so.
And they want to start from inside and the interior because, the fact that they completely turned that defense around in 1 year. Now, adding Fangio was huge. And then drafting those 2 young studs in the secondary, huge. But they're still rookies, but they're playing like veterans. So whatever system he's got going on there in Philly with the defensive line and the secondary, not really having to blitz because those guys can just get after you. It's very impressive what they did from last year to this year.
Adam Peters has to find the closest thing he can to Jalen Carter and plug him in the middle of the Commanders' defensive line. Mm-hmm. He has to break up Payne and Allen. And I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know who would be going. Probably Allen because he has less money due to him in the next few years. I don't think he has any guaranteed money left. Like, he needs to find a disruptor. Now, I know you're not going to find a Jalen Carter type because that guy probably should have gone top 3 or 4 instead of slipping to 9.
Right.
But he fell because of character concerns and the car crash when he was at Georgia, obviously. But, I mean, that dude is a man-child. So you need to find something like that to aid your defense on that first level. Now, they need to add some other parts too, but I think it starts right up front. They need to find somebody more impactful on that defensive line, on the interior. Mm-hmm.
See, the season kind of was so great that it masked a lot of the things, which are the reality of the team. When we started off the year, we said, this team has so many holes. They got to get better receivers, better offensive line, better defensive line. We kind of went through it, the secondary. So truth is they need to do a little of everything.
Sure, and I agree with you being that receiver isn't the top priority, but like you saw with the Eagles last night, they didn't just go and get A.J. Brown and say, we're good with that. They drafted Devontae Smith in the first round because they want multiple weapons around their young quarterback. So I don't care whether you draft that guy or you sign him in free agency, somebody has to come in and help McLaurin do the heavy lifting.
800-636-1067. We'll take your calls. A couple of Facebook posts. Here's from Earl Smith. He says, offensive line and defensive line, period. Mm-hmm. Another wide receiver to do something about a secondary and a reliable field goal kicker. See, that's a lot of needs. Greg, get better in the trenches. The strength of their team lies in the offensive defensive lines. They're elite. We have to bolster both lines. It helps everything else. That kind of was the big takeaway from that game yesterday, because as great as Saquon is and as good as some of the players we've talked about are on the Eagles, they just dominated the defensive line. Yeah. And maybe it's because they were doubling Jalen Carter that Sweat had a big game.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis is really good. Brandon Graham actually was activated, played in the game.
Yep.
And then, look, the offensive line, it wasn't like they were creating these huge holes for Saquon Barkley, but we've seen them do it throughout the year. And they've got this massive offensive line. And then when Hurts wanted to go play action, worked perfectly.
Well, I mean, when you
Hurts, we probably haven't talked about Hurts enough. Like, I kind of feel like Hurts, he's such a humble guy. He's actually kind of similar in my mind, personality-wise, to Jaden. I mean, Jaden's a little more charismatic for sure, but on the sidelines, they're both kind of quiet and focused. Don't seem to have this great range of emotions during the game.
I think that's a positive, obviously.
I think he kind of stuck it to everybody.
Yeah.
He stuck it to everybody throughout the playoffs. People doubted him. He did have a down year last year. Threw a bunch of interceptions.
He was battling an injury, but yes, he did.
But he kind of stuck it to all the critics who grill him for not putting up these big numbers.
It's just a perfect system for him because he's not asked to do that, and he didn't have to do that because he's got Saquon Barkley, and he's got a great defense.
You should lean on a guy who's going to rush for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, so
that's the way your offense should be built.
So he doesn't have to go out there and put up 40 touchdowns.
Right.
But yeah, I would agree. I mean, he seems like a likable kid, and he's there was a lot of question marks with Hurts after last year. Is he really a franchise quarterback? Well, he just went out and proved that he didn't put up crazy numbers in the 4 playoff games, including the Super Bowl, but he was super efficient.
2 Super Bowl trips by the age of 26 with 1 win.
Yep.
He's building a pretty nice resume.
It's a great resume.
Bad.
All right, let's go to the phones. 800-636-1067. Calls from the MGM National Harbor listener lines. What do the Commanders need to do to get to Philly's level?
All right, let me see here. Let's go to Chris in Delaware. Hey, Chris. What's up, man? You're on with the Junkies. Chris, are you there?
How's it going?
Hey, Chris.
Yes,
good.
I'm here.
What's up?
Hey, guys. Yeah, thanks for taking the call. I tell you what, man. It's if you're looking at the defense, it's the obvious section of our team that needs to be addressed. But I think this is not a one off-season away team. I mean, the reality is we got really, really fortunate with so many games, the ball going our way, outrageous plays, and it was very unique, and that's what made the high so high. But they're 2 off seasons away. But sticking with this off season, they got to strike gold on the defensive line, and I think, and this has not been talked about enough, they really have to get one of these rangy, communicative safeties. Man, they got to get a guy that can just roam in the back and really take the pressure off whoever is at corner. They got to go out and get a corner. They got to reload in so many spots, and just keep drafting like the Philly does, right? But they got to get from that back end, the free safety. They got to strike gold, and defensive line, interior. Payne and Allen got to get broken up at this point. They've had 2 years of down production. The arrow is pointed down for those guys. So those are the 2 spots: strike gold at defensive line and strike gold at safety. And otherwise, just keep doing what they're doing in terms of getting free agents and get some of these rookies to contribute.
I think they're pretty happy with Quan Martin at safety. Like, I mean, he may not be flashy and spectacular, but I think they view him as a solid player.
Yeah,
maybe.
Of the spots defensively, that might be their most settled, actually, I think.
But you got Martin and Chin there at the safety spots.
I think they're decent.
Yeah.
I definitely think you need more help at corner. I'm not buying in this Lattimore stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if Lattimore's healthy, I think he'll be fine, level. But he just hasn't proven to be healthy. That's the problem.
Remember, Jason, he's not 23 anymore.
He's not. He's upper 20s.
I'm not sure.
I wish I was upper 20.
I'm not sure he's anywhere near his peak.
I would agree, but they clearly went out and traded significant parts to get him, so they're high on him.
Sometimes you swing,
we may
sometimes
not be.
You miss.
Well, that's where next year comes into the play. So hopefully it's a huge swing.
Let's go to Mo in Largo, 800-636-1067. After watching that game, what does it mean for the Commanders to keep up with the Eagles? Mo!
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I think you need to allocate significant resources towards the trenches. I mean, both offensive and defensive line. And also, we need to find some speed at the linebacker position. I'm not sure where he fits in at because you got to keep Luvu, but old man Wagner, I mean, we need speed there. I think if you address the corner position and we can move Mikey back inside, I think he helps with the run a bit more because, that's where his natural spot is, inside corner. But we need offensive linemen that are big. I mean, big and mobile. No more of this, 300, 310, 350. Nah, I need 325, 330 or better. I mean, that's what they showed me yesterday. You need big, mobile guys that are aggressive and, then you can legitimately establish the run because, I mean, at the end of the day, a bigger man that knows what he's doing is going to succeed more so than the smaller man. So I mean, it was encouraging what I saw because, I mean, we looked a hell of a lot better than Kansas City last night. And for where we are, based upon where we came from, I like our progression. But, yeah,
I think you definitely can be encouraged. I want to challenge this whole his natural position thing. I understand that he played slot in college, and everybody wants to make Sandestrel a slot corner on this team. He was damn good on the outside, and wasn't his natural position a wide receiver?
Yeah, I think
wasn't he a wide receiver?
He started at receiver, though, right?
I guess, but
he's just a great athlete.
He was really good on the outside. He was their best corner on the outside. He was definitely better than Lattimore. He was better than St. Juste.
Mm-hmm.
But if he thrives on the inside and Peters gets a bigger, more physical guy in the draft, then I have no problem moving him into the slot.
I don't rush to move him into the slot because I think he's their best outside guy. But that's just me.
Well, just upgrade and see where it all plays out, right? I don't care if he plays outside or inside. The guy looks like he can play either way. Just get better, add more pieces there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which they will wherever he fits.
But I don't think it's a priority. After watching that game last night, I don't feel like corner's the priority. I feel like they address it with Lattimore, and he just better hope he gets back to form.
I think more of a priority is the line, the interior, and obviously setting the edge. And then, honestly, I do think the O-line. We just got to protect Jaden like it's crazy.
They're going to add probably 10 significant pieces through the draft and free agency.
But if you specifically want to match yourself up against Philly, Saquon had a field day against them basically in all of the games, right? They could not stop Saquon. The Chiefs found a way to...
Nobody couldn't. I mean, he had 14 100-yard games. So.
Of course. But how do they do that? I think, that's where maybe you take that big swing into Myles Garrett because he's going to be somebody that's going to command attention. I know that you would love to insert a Jalen Carter. I don't know what they can do. They drafted Newton this year. They've got Payne and Allen. I don't think I personally don't think they're going to spend resources on getting some free agent to be a defensive tackle. I think you got to get somebody on the edge who can provide the pass rush, who also is much better than Dante Fowler at stopping the run.
I think they're going to go out and get a significant piece on the defensive line.
In the interior part? Yeah.
Either edge or interior. They're going to get someone big. They're going to get a big name, probably in free agency or trade. They're not going to come back with just Allen and Payne.
They know it's time to spend with Jaden on his rookie deal and him playing as well as he did.
But maybe they like Newton.
It's time for them to
he can be a piece.
Time for them to go for it.
But they're going to get a significant
Remember,
piece
they play 3 or 4 of those guys. I mean, there's a heavy rotation.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely, I think Cakes is right. They probably will split up Allen and Payne some way.
Yeah, I don't see that being.
I don't see them coming back.
Run back in 2025.
I mean, we've run that experiment for 5 or 6 years. It's kind of run its course. Let's go to Mark in Burke. Mark, what's up, buddy? 800-636-1067 if you want to chime in.
Hey, good morning, Junks. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing good.
Good. Hey, I had a rough night's sleep last night after watching that game, man. I think as a Commanders fan, we've sort of bought into these myths that are convenient, that Hurts can't play and that Sirianni's not a great coach. None of that looks true, man. And their rise coincides with our rise. And the only way I see to compete with a team that's that good in our division, by the way, screw the Giants, but to compete with a team that good is to get established guys now, because who knows how long the Jaden Daniels window is going to be open. So I think our picks are going to have to become capital to pick up guys with the specific idea of getting past Philly, because they're a monster. And we got to deal with them twice a year, plus the playoffs. So I just think we need established guys.
So where would you start? You're out of Peters. Where do you start? Yeah.
I mean, I would talk to Cleveland and say, what can we do to get Myles Garrett on our team? We need a guy of his caliber to at least, not only sort of shore up a run defense, but also pressure Hurts. So I would do whatever we could to get that guy. I don't know if Cleveland's so stupid, they probably won't let him go no matter what we offer him, because they just seem like one of those teams that aren't going to let him go just because he wants to leave kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But, I mean, obviously, guys, defense all over the place. But when you're dealing with a team that scored 100 points almost against 2 great teams, that's just freaking frightening.
Yeah.
So, And again, it seems like this happens to us sometimes. I remember back in the day when the Vikings traded away their franchise for Herschel Walker, and they gave $1 million draft picks to the Cowboys, who then established a dynasty.
Correct.
So it seems kind of like that might be coming around again, and we got to act now. We don't have time to gamble on rookies, I think. So that's my position. What do you guys think?
I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with the Eagles, but I'd say, look, almost every year the team that wins a Super Bowl, you think, man, they're going to be set up to win a Super Bowl next year too.
It's so hard.
And the Chiefs have been able to, get back every year, at least to the AFC Championship and to the Super Bowl a bunch of times. But the Eagles are going to lose players. They're probably going to lose their offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore, I mean, Sirianni was dropping, S-bombs on TV saying, let's run this S back.
Right. Well, he's not coming back.
No, Kellen Moore is gone.
Yeah. Right. So that Eagles team is going to be different.
Well, they have the majority of their pieces back, though. They're young, especially.
But like you said, Sweat's
a free agent. Yeah.
But I kind of agree with the guy that said, and I know people don't like it when I say this, that this was kind of like a premature, like this was ahead of schedule, what they did this year. I still feel like talent for talent, we're 2 years away. You're not going to be able to get all this talent that you're going to need to compete week in and week out with the very best in 1 year.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I know people
didn't
like it when I said next year's going to be tough, and but it doesn't mean we're going to be bad. But just to get to where they need to be, I don't think it's an overnight thing.
Right, to have a stacked team. Look, the Eagles have a stacked team.
Every time we played some of these teams, we go, talent for talent, we're getting out-talented.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaden's phenomenal, and he's going to keep us relevant. But we just need, flat-out, more talent.
Well, that was clearly the case last night. Like, every unit on the Eagles was better than the Chiefs.
Yeah, every
They're
player.
so talented.
It wasn't even
every
particularly
player.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.